Happy New Year, everybody, especially to all the Falcon fans out there in the YouTube universe. So, guys, today we're going to talk about our new quarterback, Micheal Penix. And yes, it's only been 2 games, but I believe that Micheal Penix is the real deal. We're going to talk about that today. And I believe that the Atlanta Falcons finally got their new franchise quarterback coming in after Matty Ice retired. Retired last year, and they traded him out after his 14th year in the organization. For so the last 3 years, the Atlanta Falcons been looking for the next guy, and I think they have found it in Micheal Penix. We're going to talk about that today. Um, and guys, I definitely want to hear your opinion on this. And do you think I'm correct? I know it's been 2 games, but hey, for what I've seen in these 2 games, I'm really, really positive about what I think Micheal Penix can do. So, guys, with that being said, if you haven't already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you know when I drop a new video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys like hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come here and talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So, guys, let's get right into it. Talking about Micheal Penix, and the first thing I'm gonna talk about when you bring in young quarterbacks, right? And if you look at what they did in college, because the question is when you look at college and like so many successful players in college have just been completely dominant in college. You think of guys like Tim Tebow, how dominant Tim Tebow was in college, right? But his game did not really translate into the pros, right? You look at the guy like Jamarcus Russell, right? Everybody call him the biggest bust, but he had all the talent, and you got a guy like Jamarcus Russell. I think they probably drafted him more on his potential than what he actually did in college. Now he played really good at LSU and things like that, but it wasn't at a level where he was in the talking about Heisman like a guy like Micheal Penix was. But a guy like Anthony Richardson, right? All the upside. That's why they got him. Josh Allen was sort of like a Anthony Richardson. You look at a guy like Trey Lance; those guys had upside, right? They didn't have a lot of production where they had in college, but they was able to go off potential. NFL scouts a lot of times what they do, which is probably could be some of these NFL GMs downfall and scouts and stuff. They go off potential and what they think the guy can do. Um, in the pros when they might not had a lot of success in college, like Anthony Richardson. Like if you watch Anthony Richardson and at Florida, it just didn't seem like he had enough game. Right? He probably should have stayed in college a couple more years, develop his game a little bit more. Now it's so you can see that development still haven't completely developed now. In the pros, and then the support that he had a back issue now that he's been having since he's a kid, or he can't even walk. So, you know, sometimes these scouts and GMs need to do a little bit more homework. But you got a guy like Trey Lance who had a great season in college, and now in some circumstances, you look at a guy like Sam Darnold, right, who was a third overall pick in the draft, high pick. Situations he went to did not did not turn out the way he wanted to be. People thought that he might have had his career was over, but look at him now, 14-2. The talent is there. You can see that. You can see why he was picked number 3 overall. Look at a guy like Baker Mayfield went to Cleveland. He was the first guy to get Cleveland to the playoffs in a long time, right? But it didn't work out with him. Went to Carolina, the Rams, and then finally found a home in Tampa. So sometimes, quarterbacks get to situations. So when you're looking at a guy like Micheal Penix, you want to think, does it translate to the pros, right? So what we've seen in college, does it translate to the pros? Well, we know Micheal Penix played almost 50 something games or about 50 something games in college. Um, and you look at how he changed his game from when he was at the University of Indiana till he went to University of Washington. Now, Indiana, he was more of a running quarterback. He was actually a little bit mobile than what you've seen at Washington. Right now, he did have 2 injuries to his legs, And so he changed the game a little bit, be a little bit more pocket passer. He still had his mobility to get out, harm's way and things like that. The guy ran a 4.45 in the 40 at pro day and things like that. So we know he does have the athletic ability, but he changed his game a little bit. But if you look at the talent from what he did in Indiana, a team that has not had that much success, and I think he won like 8 games with those guys when he was there. He changed that program around. Just to injuries, he couldn't stay healthy. Went to Washington, had 2 outstanding seasons. The only guy that went over 4,500 passing yards, aside from Patrick Mahomes when he was in college, was a guy like Micheal Penix. So, what you wanted to see is, could that translate into the NFL, right? Now, in my opinion, you always have to go to the situations, guy. You look at Caleb Williams, how he's struggling right now, guy that had so much talent, in Justin Fields, right? I don't think those guys found a good home yet, right? Caleb Williams has opportunity to get a new coach probably this year, right? Bring a good coach in, get a good offense coordinator to put him in the right system to do some of the things that made him so special in college. I think he'll turn out, because you can see the glimpses and flashes from a guy like Caleb Williams to think that he's going to be all right, right? Same thing would happen with Bryce Young. Like, he finally got in. Now, unfortunately, had to sit in for a minute to see a veteran like Andy Dalton, go in and do things like that. But he come back out now, he's playing a whole lot better. So I think, and I know everybody wanted, the Atlanta Falcons to go ahead and, why wait so long to put Penix in and things like that. But I believe that the Atlanta Falcons had the right plan. And what I mean by that is to sit behind a Kirk Cousins, who's a journeyman himself, that a pro that played in the game a lot, learn how to look at film, learn how to dissect, the game plans and things like that from an NFL standpoint. And I believe that's the reason why Micheal Penix looks so, what's the word I want to use? Looks so comfortable. Yes, comfortable running this Atlanta Falcons offense, because it seems like he's been in it a while, right? It's just the stuff from here and there where it's really hurting what we see from Micheal Penix, right? The missed throws, not being as accurate, the chemistry, time on task with his receivers and things like that. That's what we're not. That's what we're just not clicking right now. But from an operational standpoint, from a process standpoint, being able to see the field, being able to, play in pressure moments and things like that, that's already translated from college to what we've seen in college from Micheal Penix to the NFL. So, being able to sit behind Kirk Cousins, in my opinion, was valuable for the Atlanta Falcons and for this organization this year. And I think it's really going to pay dividends. Now, playing these last 3 games, of course, playing the Giants first was the team that wasn't really trying to win, but then they go out and screw themselves over, take themselves out of the number 1 pick the following week against the Colts. But playing the Commanders, the team that was trying to get in the playoffs themselves, had that playoff atmosphere. The operation was good, man. The operation, I mean, coming out, the first drive, throwing interceptions, letting that rub off your shoulders, and then to come out and then to play the game he played, and in my opinion, in the impact moments in the game. We always talk about situational football, and Micheal Penix shined the most in those moments. So, I mean, I like what I see so far. And yes, it's only been 2 games. And so, be honest with you, it takes teams a whole year, to figure out young players. I mean, look at CJ Stroud. He's not having the same success he had his first season, right? Because now they got film on him. Now, it always context to this, because he have a lot of injuries from his receiving core, right? A couple of his receivers don't went down, so I understand why he's struggling a little bit. But once you get more film on a quarterback, they start to figure out a little bit, especially you get tendencies and things like that. So I know it's been 2 games. So don't want to get too high, but at the same time, I believe that the Atlanta Falcons have found their guy. And I can't be more ecstatic about the future of this team, right? And the more you look at the young core around Micheal Penix, you look at Drake London, finally getting over 1,000 yards this season. I think he's a bona fide number 1 receiver on this team. You look at Darnell Mooney, that's 8 yards away from going over 1,000 himself. You know, good number 2. Ray McCloud has had an outstanding season playing for the Atlanta Falcons. Probably the more reception he ever probably had in his whole career. He have made big catches and big moments for this team, especially on third downs and things like that. You look at a guy like Bijan. What else more we can say about him? Just uber talented, going to get better and better. The guy is just fantastic player. And you always going to know Bijan is going to do what he do. Kyle Pitts is the enigma, right? He's the enigma. He's the question. How dangerous this team could actually be if Kyle Pitts was to show some of the things, the flashes that he showed in that Commanders game, right? But like I said, the chemistry, the time on task with the receiver. Micheal Penix said today in his press conference, he had never thrown balls with those guys. He hadn't built no chemistry with Drake London, no chemistry with Darnell Mooney, no chemistry with Kyle Pitts, right? The offensive line had to get to understand his command in the huddle and things like that. So it's still fresh, guys. And the idea that it's still so fresh and he looks so impressive already is to me is what I mean by I'm so confident about Atlanta Falcons and what we can do moving forward. Let's get into some of these comments real quick. So Eddie says, yes, he's definitely got their quarterback, but no Super Bowl during his time. Okay. Yep, just like Dallas got their quarterback. And they ain't gonna get no Super Bowl neither. Eric Rogers says, Penix is the truth. We should have benched Cousins after the San Diego's loss. Yeah, and that's what I mean, And honestly, Eric, when I think about that San Diego loss, right? Because we lost to the Aints before, and we should have won that game, right? Koo missed too many field goals in that game. I think that we gave up 3 points in the second half in that game. We should have beaten Aints. The Vikings, the Denver game, we know what happened. Denver just a watch because I think the whole team went up there and ready to go on a bye. They just didn't show up that game. So we'll chalk the Denver game up as just a complete wash because the entire team played like crap in that game. But to your point, that San Diego, that Los Angeles game against the Chargers, right, was huge. It was really, really huge against the Chargers because that's coming off a bye. And that's probably our best defensive performance that we had the entire season in that game, right? Now, of course, that was before the Giants game because Giants probably were the best. But before that Giants game, the game against the Los Angeles Chargers probably the best game we had, right? And the fact that we can only put up 10 points in that game, and Kurt had been struggling the Aints game, the Denver game, then coming in right out for bye when you would expect everybody to be clicking and being on all cylinders, and to play like that again, they had it was at a crossroad to make decision. So the problem with that is when you pay a guy $180 million, and you had the plan in place from day one when you drafted Micheal Penix that he was going to sit for a year. You got your franchise quarterback, a guy that's going to be able to get you to the playoffs, right? And if you look at the history of Kirk Cousins, the track record, he has never had a terrible 4-game stretch like he had. it just didn't exist in his entire career that he had been, you know, in the NFL. He had never played that bad for 4 consecutive games. So, you know, in the organization mind, because money plays a factor in this, and you know, trying to lose face and things like this. Because I know you guys recall once they did make the switch, everybody was like, "See, that's why you don't pay Kirk Cousins." And, you know, they started going back to the contract that he had, and you know now the Michael Penix pick was, you know, was a good pick, right? Before it was not a good pick because you just paid this guy, you had got your franchise quarterback, and why are you picking another quarterback? Remember, people get amnesia about things like that, but most people was upset with the Penix pick because you just paid Kirk Cousins. Now that you got Penix on the roster and you got a guy that you paid $180 million, and he has never played 4 bad games like that. So the idea was he's gonna come out this funk. He can't keep playing like this. Can't keep playing like this, right? So I agree. They probably waited too long to pull him. They probably waited too long, but the plan was not to play Michael Penix this year. That just was the truth, right? They never had an idea that Kirk Cousins was going to play as bad as he played. That just wasn't. That wasn't in the plan. That wasn't in the process. Especially you start out 6-3, you just don't see where you be like, okay, he's going to just stink it up. And unfortunately, he stunk it up so bad that the next 2 games, right? So they gave him 2 more games after the Chargers game. They gave him the Vikings game and they gave him the Raider game. And he continued to look bad, right? So that's where it is. You're probably right. They probably could have pulled him out, but you know, they was trying to get the bang for the buck, man. They paid this guy $100 million, guaranteed money. You're trying to get your money worth out of him, at least get us to the playoffs, guy. But he couldn't do it. So they had to start the future early, and that's what they did. I think it was the right decision. Did they do it too late? Probably so, but you got to understand why they did it. It wasn't so easy to pull a guy you just paid $100 million guaranteed, and then once they pulled him, right, then you start hearing the chatter about Terry Fontenot, I got to go because it was a bad deal, bringing in Kirk Cousins, paying him all that money. You started to hear all that, you know, that chatter. Then you started hearing Kirk Cousins on the Falcons gonna cut him before, you know, the new league year starts coming up here, you know, in March. So that's why it wasn't an easy decision to make. It seemed like it was easy because you got your future quarterback on the bench, but when you pay a guy $100 million, it's not that easy because now you got cap implications, right? And you can get back in the situation we was when Terry Fontenot took over this team, who was in cap hell, right? And now you just added another guy onto the cap sheet that you're probably gonna have to end up trading or maybe even cutting, right? And you're gonna have what $60-some million in dead cap money. So that's not a good look. So that's why they didn't want to pull him. It's just that simple. At the end of the day, and Raheem made it clear when he pulled him, it was complete football decision. So it had nothing to do with the taxes or nothing like that. It was completely a football decision when they made it because he was playing that bad. He had no choice. So if it had something to do with anything else, he probably would have stayed in. But it was how bad of football he was playing. So that's what happened. Terry T says, "Happy New Year, Kondo. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. It's 2025. Can you guys believe it's 2025? Man, wow." I still remember when they was talking about Y2K and, you know, and then you talk about the Mayans 2012, like the time stop there. So many things, man. Like, and we in 2025 now. So, and also you think about LeBron James came in the league in 2003. He's still playing basketball. That's crazy as well. All right. So we got Terry T says, is MPJ arm stronger than Vic's? I don't know now. I don't know. Vic, man, he had that flick. He got an arm though. The kid got an arm. he got to start putting some touch on that ball. But I don't think it's touch. I just think it's chemistry with the players, man. He got to know what kind of receivers he got. He got big body receivers in Drake London and Kyle Pitts. You don't have to be perfect on those passes, man. You just need to get it up. Those guys go up and get it. So he got to learn that. So that's one thing. He says Bijan is going to be the next running back to get 2,000 yards. I give him two. I ain't gonna need to argue with you that, man. I ain't gonna argue with that. But I don't know, because I can see the Falcons being so balanced, because with the talent we got on the offensive side, and they all young too. Do he need to be a 2,000 yard back? You know what I'm saying? So that's the question. But I don't see why he couldn't be. I agree with you on that. Eddie said Josh Allen was dang good quarterback for 4 years at Wyoming University. Yes, you are correct. But one of the things about Josh Allen when he came out was his accuracy. That was one of the questions about Josh Allen. It was his accuracy. And could you fix that? He was a good quarterback. You're right. He played 4 years, but his accuracy was one of the things that he was having trouble with. And then you saw that, his first couple seasons, he was with Buffalo. But, man, you can't say nothing about Josh Allen now. He probably ended up going to be an MVP this year because they probably got Lamar Jackson fatigue. So, but Josh Allen is not like a Trey Lance, not like Anthony Richardson, not like a Jamarcus Russell. I agree with you on that. He was different. But my point was he was uber talented and he had all the skill sets, but he had just completely put it together like he wanted to. So that's what I meant by Josh Allen, throw him in there, because he's not in this category where guys had not played a lot of football. Josh Allen had, but the issue coming out of the NFL with him was his accuracy issues that he had. And you can see that his first 2 seasons, man. Josh Allen's led the league for like 2 seasons in turnovers. Right, he put up all those extraordinary numbers. He played well, but he had issues turning the ball over and things like that. And finally, this year, he finally got under control. That's probably why he's going to be the league MVP. Eric says, Cousin cost us a shot at the playoffs. Cousin injured. He doesn't have the zip on his throws anymore. Steve Wonder can see something is wrong with Cousins. And that's the mystery, right? I think because I heard one of D. Orlando Ledbetter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution ask that question to Raheem Morris today, and it's like, what happened? That's the question. We don't know. Like I said, we have never seen him play like this. Now, could it be farther time? Will he ever get it back? I don't know. Well, we know this. It won't be an Atlanta Falcon uniform. And I think that has settled. Now, could the Atlanta Falcons keep Kirk Cousins on the roster and be the backup quarterback? Technically, yes, he's still under contract. They don't have to trade him. They don't have to cut him. They can have the most expensive backup on the bench. They could definitely do that, right? If they decide to do that, that could be a choice. That could be a choice. But, I mean, you got people already talking about the Cleveland Browns, which would be interesting, right? Because Deshaun Watts still on that team, coming back from Achilles, where Kirk Cousins is coming back from Achilles. Now, to your point, he could have been injured. He probably couldn't have been 100% because, he was coming off the Achilles, but another year removed from it, he could get back to form. So we'll just have to see, man. I don't know 100% if Kirk Cousins ever going to get back to where he was, being one of the most proficient quarterbacks during the regular season, But this year just wasn't the year, man. He just couldn't get it done. And yeah, you're right. I think he did cost us the playoffs. I mean, we could have beat the Aints and the Chargers, man. We'll be right there. We want to be talking about what's going to happen this Sunday and needing our arch enemy to win a game for us, And we still got to do our job, of course, and win our game on Sunday. But it just sucks, man. It really does. All right, let's talk. We'll get to the last comment. Eddie saying, I told you one day from signing Kirk that it was a mistake and he was going to fit in a new system. I think I think the system has nothing to do with why he played bad. I do not want to put that on reason. It's like making excuses for Kirk Cousins. He just played bad, man. It's no other way around it. You go to the 500-yard game he had against the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he didn't have good games. He did. Both games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, his best 2 games of the season, pretty much. The comeback win he had in Philadelphia, that 2-minute drive that he had was just outstanding. So he have had moments, and the crazy part about it, those are only 3 games I could really think about where Kirk Cousins really blown us away with his play. Right, the other games you think about was we won more, but it wasn't something that you want to write home about. But those 2 games against Tampa, that 2-minute offense against the Philadelphia Eagles was just some of the best football we've seen for him this season. And if you take away some of those performances, you're right, it's not nothing to write home about. The first game against the Aints, that wasn't good. I mean, we only kick field goals. We got a turnover on defense, and we got a special teams, play on that. So those 2 plays along, on that game helped us out. What's another win we had? The Raiders win. Oh, we saw what happened with the Raiders win. So that's 5 wins. Carolina game. Did he play well in Carolina game? First game, I'm not 100% sure on that. So 3 games. We're talking about 3 games. Kirk Cousins probably played well. Play outstanding football for us. Other than that, man, it was hit or miss, and you got to tip your head off some defense and special teams and some of the other wins. Cowboy game, Kirk Cousins didn't blow us away in none of those games, right? Except the 2 Tampa games, and then that one impressive drive that he had in Philadelphia to end the game. So maybe the writing was on the wall. We were just all blinded because we were 6-3, 2-game lead on the division. Can't even make that stuff up, right? All right. So let's talk about the coaching staff, right? And the new regime just got here, because it's so much chatter about one and done for Raheem Morris, right? And I believe that will be a mistake. Completely believe, starting over again will be a mistake. For one reason, the Falcons have opportunity to win 9 games this year. Now, it's a complete utter failure. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Atlanta Falcons did not succeed this year. It's a failure this season because we did not make it to the playoffs. Start out 6-3. The Atlanta Falcons should be in the playoff. They should be hosting a playoff game, coming up in the division. I mean, in the wild card round. It should happen, 100%. So there's no excuse at all for the Atlanta Falcons to not be in the playoffs this year. So it's a complete failure. But the idea of the Atlanta Falcons starting over with a new coaching staff, in my opinion, would not be a good idea for one reason, and for one reason only. The reason why I'm talking about the show today, and that is Micheal Penix. Micheal Penix is that reason. Because you got to look. This is a new system, and for anybody that says that being in the system and learning the system and mastering the system is not what quarterbacks, how they excel. You look at guys like Peyton Manning. The offense Peyton Manning ran, even in Denver, was his offense. The offense that Tom Brady ran was his offense. The offense that Drew Brees ran was his offense. Man, I'm telling you, you got a young, new first-time play caller in Zach Robinson, right? Give those guys time to develop that chemistry, like a Sean Payton and a Drew Brees, like a Peyton Manning had mastered his, like a Tom Brady had mastered the system they was in, right? You have to give these guys time. You bring in a new coaching staff. Yes, it could bring some of the similar things to the team, but at the same time, You're starting over again, and that's not good for a new quarterback. Quarterback does not need to have a new and fresh, you know, voice in his ear, learning new plays, trying to learn how to call new stuff. He spent this whole year learning this system, right? First system, and it's only been 3 games, but I think you can see he already has progressed in it just through this season alone. Not even playing, to how comfortable he is, and how more comfortable. Just imagine how more comfortable he could be another season. How more comfortable Zach Robinson would be, second year calling plays full time. So that's why we look at the coaching staff. I think it's important that they stay at least another year, right? You got to give these guys opportunity to build. I mean, Raheem Morris comes in and he inherits a team, right? He only had one draft, right? And if you look at the draft class he had, right? Look at guys like Rook Rororo, right? He played well. Look at J.D. Bertrand. He played really well for us. So you look at these guys that he brought in the draft class, and you got look at Micheal Penix, right? So you look at these guys, you be like, okay, I can see. So let him get his guys in here first, right? You got to give more than 1 year, and you got to give these new coordinators opportunity. Even on the defensive side with Jimmy Lake, right? You gotta like the progression that they've had in the second half of the season. Man, we had 9 sacks like 4 or 5 games ago, and we over 30 now. Just to think about that, we had 9 sacks, and we over 30 now. So, just amazing the change they was able to do to turn the defense around. Now that defense looked like got shredded against Jalen Daniels, but that first half looked really good for us. That's why I said it was tell it 2.5 for the Atlanta Falcons. But you got to give these guys opportunity, and I think that would help Micheal Penix out. Guys, you have your franchise quarterback now. The key is to build around him. To build around your franchise quarterback. When the season over, we're going to get into, what the offseason moves the Atlanta Falcons should do. I don't want to talk about that today, but you got the franchise quarterback. Now you can build around him, but you're going to need to do it, right? Have some consistency. Start to develop some consistency with your coaching staff, with Zach Robinson. Let Raheem stay here. I know everybody's so mad about game management, and he should have been Kurt and all that stuff, and mismanagement of some of the game situations. I understand, but guy haven't been a coach for 13 seasons. You got to get his feet wet again too. So he's gonna make mistakes, but to have a winning season for our Atlanta Falcons, right? And he got to finish that off on Sunday to have a winning season. But to have a winning season, first time we've been over 500 since 2017. It's saying a lot, right? And I don't think any of us thought in the first place, even though I wanted us to get in the playoffs and I wanted us to do good, but I didn't think the Atlanta Falcons were going to win the Super Bowl this year. So, let's take the good with the bad, and what came out of all this year, the how upset we're going to be and how we're so disappointed we're going to be this year. We can look at that we was able to see what Micheal Penix is all about, because Kirk Cousins played so bad that they had to put him in before they wanted to. And the future is here, man. That's the way you got to look at it. So I think the coaching staff should stay. I think it's important. I think it's important for the development of Micheal Penix, 100%, and let him learn this system. Let him become a master of this system, like the quarterbacks I mentioned, right? Like Drew Brees was a master in that system with Sean Payton. He knew the offense like the back of his hand. Peyton Manning, that's why they call him the sheriff, because he do what he do. Tom Brady, man, he knew how to pick a defense apart, because they were their offenses. Look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, been offense with Andy Reid, man. Just you gotta let guys develop, man. Look at Lamar Jackson, his second season with Todd Monken. You know, could be the MVP again this year. You know, you have to let these guys develop chemistry with their play caller, and doing another regime change, in my opinion, would not be good for Michael Penix. So that's why, in my opinion, I think he should stay. Let's look at some of this. Raheem stated several times in his decision was not to play Penix all season. The delicate from the ownership and to pull the trigger is when, yes, exactly. He didn't want to play him. And he kept saying he didn't want to play him. Eddie, you are correct. He did not want to do it. This was not the plan. It was not the plan at all. But he had no choice. Kirk Cousins forced their hand. And I already talked about that in the video. Eric says Ricondo Cousins took some hard hits in Denver game. If you think about it, after that game started playing bad, I truly believe he was injured. But because he gave 180 million, yeah, man, it was about money. And to Eddie's point, it probably had to come from the ownership to pull him in the first place. I don't even know if Raheem would ever pull him. I think it came from the top to go ahead and pull him because he was playing that bad. Terry T says, I think Dan Quinn that game because Quinn gave him a chance to coach his buddy Mike Tomlin never did to give him a chance. Mike Tomlin know who he is mentally. Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, man, I think the Falcons outplayed the Commanders in the first half completely. Dan Quinn's look like the old Dan Quinn, man. He know what he know how to stop. But they came out, they balled out. Now, granted, everybody want to talk about they shut down Bijan in the second half, but not really. I mean, we only had one possession in that fourth quarter, and I think we probably had like two more in the entire game. So probably had three possessions the whole second half. So they didn't shut us down. Our defense just couldn't get out the field in that second half, man. That's what it really boiled down to. That's what it really boiled down to. But guys, at the end of the day, when we're sitting here talking about the future of the Atlanta Falcons, think about Michael Penix. The things I have seen in these first two starts from him, it's been pocket presence, being able to understand operations, already understanding, to go through progressions, being able to look off the defenders, knowing where he want to go with the ball, knowing where the ball should be, throwing with timing, right? Throwing with the ball being there before the receivers coming out them breaks. All these things is being a veteran quarterback. Sometimes that young quarterbacks have to take time to learn, right? That's what I see from Michael Penix, man. And then delivering in the clutch, man. I mean, when that ball went over Bijan's head, right, and it was second and 26, and the ability, to get that ball to Drake on the sideline, then throw that dime to Kyle Pitts. I mean, in your second start in NFL, that says a lot, man. You gotta just you have to respect the poise, respect the being able to stay calm and deliver when you have to. So I love what I've seen from Michael Penix. I definitely think he's the future. I think the Atlanta Falcons finally found their franchise quarterback. Now we can talk about building the team around a young quarterback. Now, unfortunately, we got a albatross contract or Kirk Cousins on our books, so it's probably gonna take another year to be able to build around him like we want to completely. But they could build around the edges this year. Now they're gonna have to do a lot in the draft. Now Atlanta Falcons only got 4 draft picks, so they're gonna have to be real strategic with the picks they picked. Like I said, we're definitely going to get into that for an off-season talks that we're going to have about our Atlanta team. Definitely want to get into that today, but I really want to come here today and talk about Michael Penix. I want to be able to give you my thoughts, and I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about him. Do you think he's the next franchise quarterback for us? Can Atlanta Falcons go ahead and and start to build around him and see can we finally get over that hump. And because what would really be great if we can win the Super Bowl before the Cowboys win another one. I think we're closer than they are. So that's really good. What if Miami fires the head coach Mike McDaniel? I would give him a call to be our OC. Definitely. I mean, but the crazy part about Mike McDaniel's, um, that's the same tree. It's in the same tree with Zach Robinson. Um, it's all they all come from Kyle Shanahan anyway. So that's what's crazy about you know this offense that we're running. It's the same tree. That's why you look at Kirk Cousins. People making excuses for Kirk Cousins. It's the same tree. It's the same offense he played when he was when he was in Washington, right? The same offense he played when he's in Minnesota. It's little tweaks, yeah. They run a lot of more in pistol and things like that, but the pistol was to help Kirk out. People keep talking about play action, but man, Kirk couldn't run no play action because he wasn't able to bootleg and get out and things like that. You saw Micheal Penix was able to do those things and open up the offense a little bit more. Some things that Kirk Cousins was not able to do. So I don't think they would fire Mike McDaniel. I think Dolphins got a chance to get in the playoffs. They kind of like us. They need the Bengals to lose, and they need the Broncos to lose. They need to win to get in. Or are you talking about AB have said that Raheem's job is nowhere near jeopardy. He is the coach for the. Oh, I never said his job. I'm just going over the chatter of the fan base. Trust me, the Atlanta Falcon fan base, they let you go quick, man. They ain't forgiving. They pissed. They been pissed all week. So I'm just trying to calm the fan base down. After Blank ain't said Raheem's on the hot seat or nothing like that, but the fan base ready for him to go because he didn't call timeout. And like I said in the last thing, first of all, we got to do better on third down. We got to be able to get out the field on third down on the defensive side of the ball. And maybe we won't have to worry about no timeout. So we got to fix those things first. But clock management is important. Don't get me wrong. And we still have opportunity to win that game. Maybe if he call a timeout. So I understand that the frustration from the fan base, but the fans are the ones that want to go for his head, not the owner, not an organization. I think they are behind him. I agree. I think they are behind him. But I'm just saying, from a fan base standpoint, guys, give me a break. It's not time to cut ties with Raheem. Like I said, first winning season since 2017. So that's already a win. It's not a win for us because that's not what we wanted, right? We wanted a playoff berth. We wanted to win the NFC South. That's not going to happen, right? Because we're 100% ain't room for the ain'ts. I don't care. I don't care if we lose. We don't deserve it. If we got to depend on the New Orleans Aints to beat the Bucks, we just don't go to the playoffs. So it is what it is, man. I'm not rooting for him. I don't care. I'm gonna look at the score after the game. I'm gonna be at the game. I probably glance at they might put it on the scoreboard, or whatever, but I'm not rooting for the Aints to win. So it is what it is. So I don't care. But we still need to go ahead and finish our business this weekend in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Go off on a good note. Micheal Penix showed a better game than you showed the first two. So to give, at least give the fan base confidence that coming in 2025, that the Atlanta Falcons got something to look forward to. And that's what we get to see. All right. So guys, there you have it. Definitely want to hear your thoughts on what you think about Micheal Penix Jr. Do you think he's the next franchise quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons? Can the Falcons finally say we found our guy? We're not going to be in quarterback purgatory like a lot of these teams that been trying to find a quarterback for decades, right? It only took us 3 years to do it. After Matty Ice decided, we departed with Matty Ice. It only took us 3 seasons, man. So hopefully we got it. The guy is definitely can be a guy for us for a long time to come. And he fits the new age quarterback that we need in this league, right? He's a pure pocket passer, 100% pure pocket passer, but he said that the Aints got scared today. Yeah, man. Like, I do want to end off. I'm glad you mentioned that. Prayers go to what happened. To start the season off, you hate to see stuff like that. What happened in New Orleans um, early this morning. So prayers goes to the people that lost their lives, past people that got injured and things like that. And guys, it's 2025. Stuff just getting started. So get ready. Probably gonna be a lot of more crazy stuff happening this year. So let's see what 2025 holds. So, guys, that's all I have. Definitely give me your opinion on Micheal Penix, what you think about him moving forward for the future. And just after 2 games, can we confidently say that he's the future for the Atlanta Falcons? And in my opinion, I would say yes. So there you have it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.